in tech for 25 years, product for a long time, for 16 years. I don't do product work anymore, and I certainly have never considered myself technical at all. Um, I've been friends with Kasim for the last 5 years. He's the founder of SnapDev and a bunch of other companies. A few months ago, I had dinner at his home, and I had shared with him this idea of essentially what is now super connect AI. I'm like, Kasim, I have 16,000 people are pinging me all the time to find people in my network that they could connect with, and I don't have a brain big enough to remember everybody. And so I had thought about hiring an engineering team to build the product. And he had shared with me that he's about to launch a boot camp to teach people vibe coding. But unlike other vibe coding camps that keep you kind of in prototype land, this one actually helps you ship a product live so that you can get it in front of customers. I was part of Bootcamp One along with Cassie and a bunch of others, and it blew my mind. And so now I'm like an evangelist for the SnapCamp and the SnapDev platform. So with that intro, I'm going to hand it off to my friend Kasim, who's going to, I think, in 5, 10 minutes, kind of share how the bootcamp is structured, what to expect. Then we're going to open up for lots and lots of questions. But then we will, around the 12:30, 12:35 mark, we'll get into a couple of the demos of products that were built through the bootcamp. And then after that, we'll have everybody come on for questions and answers. So that's our structure today. All right, with that, Kasim, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ha, and like always, thank you so much for supporting us from day one. When we did our first cohort, we didn't have a product. It was just 12, 13 people, just an experiment to see if we could help them and enable them to ship real products. And it turned out to be absolutely amazing with people not only shipping products, but now we have Cassie and others that are going to be fundraising and launching their products, and some have launched their products, getting feedback. So super excited to be here. I will not take up too much time because I want to dedicate most of the time to Q&A and demos, but I'll walk you through how SnapCamp works, take questions, and then we can get into the demos. Awesome. So, as you all know, my name is Kasim. I'm the founder of SnapDev. SnapDev, and as part of SnapDev, we do SnapCamp, which is our vibe coding bootcamp. Apart from this, I built a company called Remote Base. We scaled from built it 5 years ago. We've screened over 350,000 software engineers. So we help US companies hire remote software engineers. So very familiar with how to build engineering marketplaces, and then run a small venture studio with a couple of different products. And SnapDev is one of them, but now consuming pretty much 90-80% of my time as it's grown over the last 3 months. It's been a journey for sure, and an awesome one. And then we also have Deb Lu, who is our co-founder. She was previously the CEO of Ancestry.com, and then a VP at Meta. She is the one that launched Facebook Marketplace. So very, very familiar. We both have a lot of in-depth experience with engineering and general marketplaces. So that's going to come in handy when I tell you more about SnapDev. So before I get into that, you might have all heard of tools like Cursor, Windsurf, Lovable, Bolt, and these are absolutely amazing. And I feel like they have like opened up a Pandora of awesome entrepreneurs that are building, but they come with a couple of problems. So Cursor is very engineer focused, not very friendly for non-technical folks, whereas Lovable and Bolt, or V0 or other tools that are recently launching, they help you build prototypes but not fully functional products. This is why the first bootcamp that we did, cohort one, almost all 13 people, I think 11 out of 13 people, tried these tools, built a prototype, had their aha moment, but could not launch products and were stuck. So what do you do when you get stuck? There was no answer, and we thought we could build a better version, which is like, let's do the prototyping, but also help people make these functional by teaching them how to vibe code. And if they ever get stuck, you get matched with a one-on-one engineer. Um, so that's what SnapCamp is. It's a 2.5 week boot camp, closer to 3 weeks, because the demo day is going to be this time after 3 weeks. So you get like 3, 4 additional days to work on your project. And then a 2.5 week boot camp where you come in with an idea and leave with a functioning product with at least 1 or 2 core features that you can put in the hands of customers that can use those features and give you feedback. And the entire idea is we combine vibe coding with daily accountability. So everyone hops on a call every single day. Some of these calls are sessions, some of these calls are us sharing tips and tricks of things, uh, what works, what doesn't work, and other calls are just office hours where you come in and ask questions. Um, so that's kind of what it is. I'll dive a little bit more deeper into it as well. But just for stuff that has happened so far, cohort 3 just ended, so we still only have 5 or 6 people that have filled out the surveys. But cohort 1 and 2, the NPS scores were pretty incredible. Cohort 1 was 91, cohort 2 was 82. Ship rate super high. 13 people, 100% people from cohort 1 were able to ship their projects. Cohort 2, we had a few, 3, 4 people that are still that were still working on their projects when the cohort ended. And then almost everyone in cohort one, not almost everyone in cohort 1 had zero prior coding experience, whereas cohort 2 majority did not have any coding experience whatsoever. The interesting thing about both these cohorts was that despite people having never written a single line of code, the average engineering time was still under 5 hours that was used. So it was pretty interesting. So how does all of this work? And so SnapCamp, like I said, is a 2.5 week boot camp. Every day we start at 8 a.m. Pacific time. We get together and we teach you how to vibe code. You will use our own UI builder and our own VS Code extension, which is like, think of it like Chat PRD and Cursor and Lovable all combined together. And the reason we do that is because all of the products we've built have a live engineering support built into the products. So whenever you get stuck, you can send a chat message and an engineer will hop on a call and help you out. So that's the key differentiator. How are we different from any other bootcamp is because we don't leave you at the prototype stage. We don't have, 1, 2, 3 instructors teaching a class of 200 or 300. Last time around, we had almost 20 customer support engineers and 20 participants. So almost a 1-to-1 ratio of support and participants, because we want to give as much support as possible so that you can actually ship real projects and not just build prototypes. So that's the key differentiator between us or any other tools or any other boot camps. One of the most important aspect of all of this is the community. So we have a Slack community. We divide people into pods. You come together as pods and share with each other and see each other's progress, which has proven to be really incredible. People facing similar problems, helping each other out. And we've sort of continued that tradition, and we still have those calls once every 2 weeks with people that are, still continue to work with us. So that's kind of how all of this works. I have already highlighted. So we use our own product, SnapDev. Think of it like Chat GPT or Chat PRD, and then Lovable and Cursor combined. We have two versions. We help people vibe code using them, and again, the advantage is that you have engineering support within the products themselves. Um, Awesome. So that's overall like the main stuff. I won't get into the details about how all of this works, but generally speaking, the course is structured where the first 3 days are dedicated to building the UI of your application. So the entire front end of your application. So you come in, you start with the PRD before the bootcamp starts. You submit your PRD. We work together on it. Our engineers give you feedback of how buildable the product is, if it's too ambitious, or if you can add a little bit more features to it. They'll give you their honest feedback in terms of complexity, and then you start the bootcamp by building the UI or the front end of the entire application. Once the front end is done, which takes a few hours to a couple of days, you build the back end of the application, which is the harder part where we give the maximum amount of support. So this is the part that all other tools shy away from because it's hard. And my thesis is it's like the Tesla full self driving. Even though they say full self driving, they still need an expert at the wheel. So in this case, it's our expert engineers. And I feel like moving forward as well over the next couple of years, software engineering will require a human in the loop. And that's what we provide with the engineering support. So yeah, everything starts October 17th. So at 8 a.m. Pacific time daily is when we will have a sync every single day. And the registration link is here. Tuition is 2000. We've extended the discount, so it's 1500 until October 10th, which comes with, we say 5 hours of one-on-one engineering time, but it's usually higher because engineers work behind the scenes as well, helping our customers, and then also reviewing their projects or reviewing their PRDs, etc. So, but we try to like push for you to learn how to vibe code so that once the bootcamp is over, you can continue building. So 5 hours of one-on-one engineering time, $400 of LLM API credits, and 10 plus hours of live sessions. So that's what is covered as part of the fee. And then, of course, you become a part of the community for life. So you are part of our Slack, you're part of the community pretty much forever. Even if you don't use the engineering support moving forward after the bootcamp, um, you can still continue to be part of the community. So previous cohort participants, we have cohort 1, 2, and 3, which just ended. So Ha, of course, was part of cohort 1. She's been supporting ever since she's been a part of the first cohort. And then we have Gal and Nora who will be doing the demos today. So that's pretty much overall what we're doing. Before we get into the demos, and I apologize for my voice because I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'm happy to take any questions, and then we can a few questions, then we move into the demos, and then I'll stay back for more questions if there are any. Did I miss something? Did I miss anything?
Um, no, I mean, you covered it on my end, but but the Q&A is always the most interesting part. So I'm curious who's already been vibe coding, what's some of the pains that you're experiencing around it, and what questions do you have about the boot camp that like might lead you to say like, oh no, this is definitely what I've been missing out on all along.
Yep. So we have one question from Fred. Is it required to use the SnapDev coding platform? The answer is yes, because if you use Cursor or Lovable, it does not have the agents that we've built ourselves, which these agents are the ones that will take your rough idea or a very basic form of PRD, whatever you submit to it, and convert that into a very thorough product requirement document, then take that product requirement document and then convert it into a very thorough development plan. And then once you have that development plan, all our engineers are trained on the tools to be able to help support you, jump on a call. All the systems are designed. That being said, if you are able to vibe code um, using the SnapDev platform, you will very easily be able to do it on Lovable and Cursor as well. It's the same principles. It's very, very similar. Cassie, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think also it's important to know that the that you retain like ownership of all of your code line by line. It's on your desktop. It's in GitHub. You can then take it and transport it somewhere else if you want to, or work with other engineers later if you want to, for example. So by leveraging the platform, it doesn't mean it's like a black box. It's that one of the cool things about it is that it's just this gateway to then having all the code available to you to then continue to use with the platform, and then also to use as you see fit. So I think that's a big bonus, because I think some of the platforms are a little bit black boxy about their code. Kasim can probably add more technical know-how there, but just that.
Yep, definitely. So everything is everything is local first, and then you just push it to your own GitHub. You have access to everything that you're doing. So yeah, 100%.
Ask a follow-up question. That's great. Thank you.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
so I have an idea, and I think the MVP of it won't actually have a traditional SaaS UI, but it'll actually be an embedded agent and like modals inside of Slack. Is that still appropriate for a Snap? Is that still the type of thing that's appropriate for SnapDev?
That's a great question. So we've done projects with where you build the UI first. However, if you have a little bit of a like some technical background, you don't have to code. When I say technical background, you worked in tech, and some people like pick it up really quickly, and you can work well with integrations. Then the answer is yes, because basically the product will allow you to build anything you want. Pretty much, it's like Cursor, right? Like Cursor is like a fork of VS Code. We use VS Code as in we have a VS Code extension, and we use one of the most popular AI coding assistants. So yes, you will be able to build the product, and you can start with that. It's just going to be slightly more technical when you work with integrations right off the bat rather than using simple UI or CRUD operations. So that's up to you. If you can spend 3-4 hours a day vibe coding, then sure, go for it.
Thanks.
Later.
Question is this only web app or can it be packaged to put it on Apple Store and Android?
That's a great question. So we start off the bootcamp with a web application. Mobile applications have their own complexities. And then you're not just dealing with building the features. Now you're dealing with different Android devices, and it doesn't work on mine, but works on my friend's device. So you start off with a web app. But that being said, Gal, who's going to give a demo, he's built a mobile version of it. Cassie's transforming hers into a mobile application. And then we also have like a playbook that our engineers have built that will allow you to turn your web app into a mobile application after the bootcamp is over, because that would require a little bit more handholding and just support so that you can make it functional. So yes, we have past bootcamp members that have done it, but that's post bootcamp, not during the bootcamp.
There's some
Awesome.
questions in the chat. I think T, I don't know if you want to come on and ask your question live or if you want us to read it off.
Sure, I'm happy to ask live.
Yeah, great.
The immediate follow-up question is that for the web app, what's the tech stack? Do you guys have a tech stack that you follow?
We do have a tech stack, but we built our agent in a way. So we do have a tech stack. We use Python on the back end. We use React on the front end. But we do have our development agent like has the flexibility where if you come in and say, no, I want to build it on Node.js or whatever tech stack you prefer, it does adapt itself and then just builds it on that. But we do have a recommended tech stack internally. So if you don't want that tech stack, you want your own tech stack, you can schedule a call with an engineer and discuss through your idea and then choose whatever tech stack you want. So when you submit your PRD, if you specify what tech stack you want, it will create a development plan according to that tech stack. If you don't specify any tech stack, it will use our tech stack.
Okay, thank you. And then this is another question. It's basically, for my understanding is that SnapDev, it's a like a kind of like VS Code extension that use like AI and human to help people write code. And is the goal after the bootcamp is to get more user for the app, and you are trying to develop this tool to be like a human assisted cursor. Is that kind of the long-term vision?
You
Great
might
question.
be in venture. Are you in venture?
I was, yes.
Yeah, that is the vision. That is the vision, because our thesis is that yes, AI can do 80%, 70, 50, 40, whatever percentage you want to give it of code. But for someone that's non-technical, you do still need that human support. And we want to be in the long term in the business of helping give that support when you are stuck and the AI cannot move forward. that's when the engineer comes in and helps you out. So that is the goal longer term. It is like, so we have two versions of the product. One is more like the lovable version, which helps you build the UI, but the way it's different is it's not web based, it's desktop based, so all your code is local. And then we do have a cursor sort of version, so you switch into the cursor version, which is the VS Code extension, and you can just continue using the same code that you built using the UI builder. The reason we do this way is because we've run so many bootcamps and every bootcamp has been different. And by doing it this way, the biggest problem we would face in bootcamp 1, 2, and 3 was people would continuously change their ideas. So there's no point in spending 10 hours on building an authentication screen when further along, you might change your idea. So by doing it this way, once you build the UI, you can constantly change the UI and modify it, and then start building it once you're ready to build it, and ready with the final idea that you have.
Okay,
That's
let's see
amazing.
Christine's question and then go into the demos.
Yeah, how are you guys with, I saw OpenAI's announcements yesterday with interacting with apps and kind of their agent support. How are you thinking either in cohort 4 or in the future of taking advantage there?
Great question again. So for AI agents, so we are right now as SnapDev, we do have the capability to build like multiple agents, but we're not doing it in the bootcamp and we're not advertising it. That is something that comes later. This is mostly for products. So this is not if you want to build AI agents to work with, let's say, 5 different integrations and take data from your Google Sheets and put it into your HubSpot, and then take it from HubSpot and send SendGrid emails, or I don't know, whatever like complicated workflows you want to automate. That's going to be a future version where we do start looking into workflow automations. For now, it's more like, okay, you have an idea and you want to turn it into a product. You might want to use the OpenAI integration and use the large language model to perform something, or you might want to do 1 or 2 integrations, but it's not workflow automations. It's
Okay.
actually building a product.
Okay, great, thank you.
So we have a question around testing. Again, that's not part of the bootcamp, but after bootcamp, our engineers, Fred, this is for you. Our engineers can help you, set up unit testing or any sort of testing you want. But for the bootcamp itself, before cohort 1, okay, I'm sharing the journey again. We had a very thorough testing in place. We had multiple agents that would do that, but it would take more time to test the app than to build the app. And then we were like, okay, let's just move this after the cohort. So yes, we help you with it, but that's post bootcamp. Perfect. Any other questions? And then maybe we can have demos and then questions after the demos, because I think
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, because the demos are super impressive. So I'm gonna sort of have Gal do his demo first, so he's from Bootcamp 2. And then he can maybe also share a little bit about his experience as being first
so.
in the boot camp and then a mentor of this current boot camp. And then Nora has been in this current boot camp, and so she can go next. But they're both very, very impressive products. Like, I'm blown away each time I see their demos.
I think Nora might have to leave a little bit early.
Oh, is that
Nora,
right? Okay, so Nora,
yeah,
go ahead. Why don't you go first then? Thanks, Kasim.
no worries.
No problem. Hi, everybody. I'm Nora. Just a little bit background by myself. I've been doing product for almost 10 years now, primarily in health tech and then B2B SaaS. But I just finished cohort 3 with the team here. Gal is actually my mentor, and he was really awesome in helping drive this project to completion. And I'll just give you a quick demo first, and I'll add a couple of more kind of just, what I feel about the cohort and what I really learned from it at the end. But just for a little bit background on my product idea, I have always had this product idea and actually come from a very personal place. My dad had diabetes for over 10 years now, and I always been a caregiver with my mom. But managing his nutrition always been a struggle for us. We didn't really know what he should eat, what's healthy, but also like finding tool that makes sense for him because he older and he's immigrant. He doesn't necessarily like speak English so well. And then after I do market research, I realized that most of the app out there are built for like macro counter or fitness enthusiasts. So they quite complicated in terms of like the workflow and like barcode scanning, etc. So after interviewing my dad and a few other people, I really wanted to come up with something that really simple, but also make it so that it's not necessarily just a logging tool, but like how do you act as a coach, right? Like if I have diabetes, I want to nutrition coach every day. Whatever I eat, I want to know what I should eat next or what I should not eat next, right? So let me share my screen real quick. Awesome. So essentially, my solution here is to be able to build a trusted diabetes companion where, and I call it GlycoPal, where making logging effortless. So you can just talk and snap a photo in the app, and that instantly translate into nutrition data, but also real-time coaching so that the user is accountable, and then eventually, hopefully it help drive behavioral change. So let me show you quickly how it works. But you can see here the SnapDev extension built me a beautiful landing page literally within minutes, like literally. And even with a lot of the snapshot you see here, I can just put in the prompt saying, hey, make this, more professional, make this, and typically one of the trick that I use actually is just put in inspiration from website at your door, right? And automatically SnapDev would make this beautiful website within minutes. This would have taken me probably a week to build before with my front end team. So this is actually the onboarding flow for my app right here. My intention is that the setup flow should just take a few minutes. User can enter basic information like, their current weight and then whether or not they have any goal to lose weight and what the activity level. And the next step is actually automatically I iterate the clinical guideline from ADA and this is just removing that initial lift for user, right? Where they may not know exactly how much they should eat. However, typically a lot of diabetes patient actually already working with a clinician. So what I do is also allow them to customize this, right? So if you don't want to use ADA, but you have clinician guidance, you can actually go in here, also customize that. And then essentially after you finish this, you land it into the home page where you can actually start logging. So I'm actually going to switch to the home page of the app here to show you the app UI. Awesome. So this is actually the daily dashboard where user can actually see their target for carb, protein, fat, and calorie. And you can see here as well, it have AI recommendation to see what you should do next throughout your day, right? So for example, for this user, it already hit 90% of their carb limit for a day. So the recommendation here is that, hey, they should focus more on protein and vegetable. And my intention is actually send out this notification closer to dinner, for example, to make sure that they stay on track. And then you can see that there's a log of the two-day meal that they eat. But what I want to actually show you guys is actually how easy it is to log a food. So if you hit here to log a food, you can actually choose two different modes, either a photo or voice log. I'm going to test out the voice log with you all today. So for example, I can say, for dinner today, I have 2 cups of rice, a cup of chicken, and some broccoli. And immediately you can see that it's automatically transcribe your speech, and you can hit log meal in the background. I actually call OpenAI for extraction and the USDA nutrition database to get the nutrition information. And immediately you see that it actually extract the food, get the nutrition info, but also immediately give you recommendation here is that this meal may go over your target. So maybe you should swap out some rice for some veggie. And I also make it really easy for people to adjust the proportion here in case they need to. So let's say if I save this meal, for example, now it automatically go to my home dashboard. And throughout the day or even throughout the week, they can actually also go to the progress page to see how they're doing that week. And my intention here is just making sure the user can use this to stay accountable, but also be able to get easy key insight, right? What should I focus on this week and next week? This is new since the last demo. I just added this PDF download here. And the intention, they can actually download this and send it to their physician or clinician so that they can actually have a conversation about their diet, how to stay on track with their diabetes management. But that's pretty much it. And I would say, like, based on my product experience, this app would have taken months to build before. I built this in about 2 weeks with about, I say, 35 hours of investment total, 10 hours on the front end and about 25, 30 hours on the back end, obviously with support of the engineering team. But this is just really impressive. I would never be able to think that I could do something like this within 2 weeks before. But yeah, my vision for this, honestly, originally just be able to help my dad lock his food. But now being with this team, I do see an opportunity to be able to go to market with this, to monetize it. And the way I really want to monetize by working with like health insurer, with clinician to actually use this tool for their patient while offering this for free for the patient. Yeah, but that essentially wrap up the demo, and I'll just add a few sentences on my experience with SnapDev. And I think just immediately within the first day or two, I just feel all the support. Honestly, I feel like there's so many people who just like personally DM me, checking in on me to see how I'm doing. And like immediately with just a few days, like even though I feel overwhelmed with like the tech stack. And I think I used Bolt before, I used Lovable before, and even though they make it super user friendly, it's more prototyping rather than fully launch your app, right? So I think my first day, I'm pretty overwhelmed seeing VS Code, seeing an extension. I didn't really know like how all the tools connect together. But honestly, everyone kept DM me and checking in on me. And whenever I need support within 30 minutes, I usually be able to hop on the call with someone. So rest assured, like if you feel overwhelmed for the first few days, like you always have the support here. And I think the best part of this is I get feedback from other people. You have an amazing community with people in product, people in engineering or non-engineering or founders. So you just get like insane amount of feedback where you may not be able to get it quickly. So within 2 weeks, you actually be able to just get this insane amount, both support, but also insight. So yeah, that's kind of it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop in the chat.
That was an awesome demo, Nora, and thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Really appreciate it.
Does anybody have a question for Nora before she has to hop off? Okay. So Nora, thank you so much for spending the time with us. And yeah, what you built was incredible, and you were a shining star of the boot camp. So congratulations.
Of course. Thank you so much, guys. Have fun.
Okay, so Gal is up next. So Gal was Cassie referred Gal. Cassie was in bootcamp 1 with me, referred Gal. He participated in bootcamp 2, was the winner of bootcamp 2, and then was a mentor in bootcamp 3. So Gal has a lot of information. Well, first of all, the most impressive product. So you'll demo it, but then a lot of words that he has to say about the experience as well. So.
Thank you so much for the warm intro, huh? First of all, I gotta say, I know she already left probably because she has to go, but what an amazing individual Nora is, right? Like, I had the pleasure of mentoring her, and honestly, it was so easy because she was so much on top of it. What she didn't mention was that she was doing some major travel in between, and I know that's a question that came up in previous boot camps as far as like, how much time do I have to put into this and how much travel? Or how much time do I have in general, so you need some hours, don't get me wrong, some people put more, some less, but people even with full-time travel and a lot of work around and families and kids still manage to build amazing things, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, Nora was just, to me, it was insane, and I remember her story on day one, and then seeing it flourish and build into this was just Amazing. Yes, I live in a bus, so you can't see it right now, but I full-time travel, and I'm not gonna say like what's his name, Mark Zuckerberg, built his in a garage. I'm not gonna compare, but yeah, I built Strive in a bus, so that's pretty cool. I only have good words, but I'll start with a quick story. I had this amazing mentor. You'll hear about a lot about mentors in my world. I had this amazing mentor that helped me build a dream that I had of an app for quite a while. Her name is Cassie, right here in this room. And this is the beginning of the year. I had this idea and, we wanted to build it. We wanted to do some discovery and make sure that we don't just build, right? Do it lean. And I built a prototype, and it took about almost 2 months to build in Bolt back then. And then we got some customer interviews, and then they saw the app itself, the prototype, and they're like, "Hey, this is awesome." I'm like, "Great. I can't really do anything with it yet, it was just a prototype. That's what it was. And after a little bit of travel that I had to do, I came back, and it was basically either going after investors or doing something else to get it started. And Cassie told me, "Hey, you really need to see SnapDev, and I think you can build it there." Um, and long story short, here we are. So what I'm going to show you is my app. I'm happy to say that it's not only fully shipped, and I would call it commercial, but I actually have the first mentors already onboarded and using it. One of them already finished their courses, and they're waiting to launch it next week, which is pretty amazing. And today, this demo would be a little interesting because I got some more feedback and data to share as well after. It's been now a few weeks since my bootcamp ended. So I'm going to start by telling you, introducing Strive. Strive is a mentorship platform that, unlike all the other ones like Kajabi and the rest, actually gives you direct connection, direct response, and feedback, like we talked about, from your mentors, right? So take any example. I'll say Steph Curry in basketball, Gordon Ramsay in cooking, you name yours, your idols, and being able to actually receive not just learning from them, but to post your goals back and then receive feedback on those goals, right? Think of that tiny little bit of tip you get from an expert that just completely changes the way that you do things, right? So that's Strive. It's all based on goal or feedback first learning. Let me share the screen. And I know there was a question about mobile apps as well, so I will show you it is a full mobile app as well. And not just that, it's actually already fully integrated with push notifications, tested and working now 100% of the time, which is pretty amazing. So welcome to Strive. This is the mentorship platform. We have this beautiful website, but I'm going to jump right into the nitty gritty. Basically, I'm going to log in, first of all, as a learner. And what you'll see here is a very clean dashboard. In learning, it's all about simplicity, making it extremely smooth, extremely simple for people. So basically, the way that it works is learners can come in, join a course, and then they're able to see their goals right here with everything that they need to know as far as how to submit the goal, right? This is where you'll learn the content of what you're about to do, giving you all the different things of what helps you to understand how to do it, personal notes from your mentors, exactly what you'll achieve, things to do, things to avoid, the transformation, right? What can you expect after doing these type of learnings? And then also submission examples. And then you can submit both in text, video, audio, literally any way that the mentor decides. And then once you go through your goals, you submit them, and then you have this back and forth from your mentor, right? Easiest way to explain it is, think that you're now submitting a goal, and for you, the next thing is you're going to sleep and you're waking up in the morning and you're seeing that the person you admire, that expert, actually received a push notification saying you just received feedback from your mentor. That means that they just watched whatever you did and they provided you personal feedback on that. So that excitement, that aha moment is what keeps you going. That's motivation. And for the mentor side, it's all about getting that personal touch to making sure that they feel legacy, right? So now they see not just how it works for them and how it feels, but also they can see personally the people that they helped, grow their legacy, people that learned from them and where they took whatever they learned and how they used it, right? So a very personal connection. I know we're in the AI bubble, but at the end of the day, it's all about personal connection. And Strive is really what kind of creates that connection. So this is an internal chat. I actually built it very similar to WhatsApp. You can see right here on the computer, you have all, this is all within the 2.5 weeks of the boot camp. You have file uploads, you have everything you need from voice recording, video, audio, and then I'll show you quickly in the mobile interface. 1 second, let me refresh. So what you'll see in the mobile interface is, do you actually have a full PWA, which means it's a mobile app. And I built a chat using WhatsApp Smart Send. So basically you can see there is no send button. Only after you start typing, it moves into sending. And instead you can use voice recording. So basically real estate, right? You make sure that you have as much use of your screen as possible. And then I'll show you very quickly the, 1 second, show you very quickly the mentor side. And by the way, if you all see funny pictures in the chat, this is because you have to have fun with it when you work 10 hours a day on building an app. So I was experimenting probably more than anyone in this app, but I have now over 100 learners just through testing. So it's, like you'll hear in the future, it's about 10-20% building and then 80% debugging. I'm 100% proof of that. This is the mentor side. It's all about showing the things you really want to know as a mentor in front of you. How much people are proceeding, how much progress they have, not just how much money you're making, your average response time, putting those feedbacks that are waiting or goals that are waiting to get feedback right in front of you every single day. So it's not just push notification, but when you log into the app, you know exactly what to do to get right into motivating people that are learning from you, right? Essentially what you're doing is you're replacing low tickets into high tickets because you're creating very high personal value. Now, the course build is extremely simple. You can do it on the phone just as much as on the computer. You have full analytics as far as per goal, per course, and per user. You can see exactly where they stand, how much they completed. And then on top of that, you have the course details. You can change anything, FAQs, build a beautiful preview site, and then personal tokens, including discounts, non-discounts, and send personal invites to whoever you want. And then you have the goals themselves. And you can see that the goals here look very, very simple compared to the way that the learner sees them. And this is to make it extremely easy to build the course, but then the mentor can click a preview and then see exactly how it looks for the learner as well, right? So making it very simple in between. And then lastly, for mentors, since they have so many learners, not just one, like the learners have just one mentor, they have this full list of all of the chats that they have. And then with each one of them, they can interact. They get different notifications for submissions and different notifications for just regular messages. Now, this is pretty much it. This is why I love showing this, because it's that simple for both of the users. But just to reiterate, I have no tech experience before. I don't come from the tech world. I come from the business world. And when I came up with this idea and said, hey, I want to build it, in 2.5 weeks, Kasim looked at me, said, okay, let's go. And in 2.5 weeks, we actually built all of this fully working, including now the mobile app. That took about 2 extra days. I would also like to add to people that, one thing that Kasim didn't mention, Kasim trains us in the boot camp with all of the amazing community on how to build an app. But I think you also train the engineers on how never to sleep, because the amount of support that you get from the engineers, the amount of support you get from the community is just mind blowing. So I had true pleasure of being part of the cohort 2. I can't even tell you how much your next cohort is going to be even better, because they just keep getting feedback from us and improving. And honestly, if you ask me, I think that's the best part. It didn't just help me build an app, but it also helped me understand how to troubleshoot, how to actually get feedback from people live while I'm building it. And looking at data today, I now have 4 live true users that are using it. And my average amount of bugs that are found per user is 3. And these are including small bugs, which is pretty insane thinking about it, because it was just built, just started. So I have 2 people now with courses, one of them a full built course and already working. And he's just waiting to send out the invite on his birthday, because he wants to celebrate it big time. So this is Strive. If anybody wants to keep following the journey and basically how we work, you can just scroll down and get strive.com and put in your details here. And I send a bi-weekly email, no marketing, no BS. to keep up with the journey. And if anybody wants to actually try how it works, especially on the mobile app, you can just go here and just click on try the Strive experience. And that's a personal course, personal feedback from me as the mentor. So you can really kind of see how Strive works. I'll just finish with a huge, huge thank you for the SnapDev community. Literally would not have been able to do it without them. And I think I saved over 100 grand just by using this bootcamp properly. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Gal. You've like completely changed the experience, not just like even for us with not just all the feedback, but like it was great working with you, and congratulations on all the success.
Cassie,
Thank
do
you
you
so
want
much.
to share a little bit about your experience? I know we don't have time for your demo, but like just your experience, because you've gone from participant to mentor to facilitator of the third boot camp, and I know like probably the biggest promoter of the boot camp. So I wanted to have
Yeah,
you introduce yourself
absolutely.
and share your experience.
Thanks, Ha. Yeah, so I'll just say, hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. Product leader for 20 years, 4-time VP of product at like SoftBank scale startups and, startup land product leader. And then been doing like advising and consulting for the last 3 years. When the Gen AI kind of stuff came, I was like, oh, let me play with that. And then I was really more like this. And then like, kind of peeking out and being like new thing, 25 years into my career. And so this summer I was like, got to jump in the deep end, pull the band-aid, whatever, analogy you want. And God, I'm so grateful for Ha and Kasim to like have landed into this group here, because it's like, I feel like I have gained an ability to not just understand how to be an AI savvy product manager, right? Because I'm a product person. In the meantime, I was mentoring Gal, who's like literally not tech at all. We've just focused purely on strategy. So like that's a whole nother fun story. But then, also building AI, like using AI to build AI native products. Like here I am now building my own product, and kind of pulling all that career capital along the way into what I want to do next. And I would say that, all the things you heard, like, I had been using Bluffable. Experiences were very meh. I didn't really know what they were driving towards, right? Because like even Gal, like he spent so many hours building out his prototype in Bolt. And then it was like, for what? What am I doing with this thing? So the fact that now I wake up on a random morning with a notebook by my nightstand thinking, oh, what about that idea? And you just have all these ideas now of like things that are problems to solve. And then you're like, oh, but I can actually do it myself. Like I really don't need help. I actually just decided to revibe code my website, cassiecamp.com, if anybody wants to go check that out. Because, I just want to lean into this. It was a Squarespace site before. And I was like, nah, I should just vibe code it. Even though like, website builders can have a lot of beautiful, like style to them. I just wanted to lean into this ethos of, I'm actually can code things myself now. So, so it's been really exciting. The community is the best part of it for me. I'm now a couple months out of having been in a cohort, and of course been working with the groups as a facilitator and a mentor, trying to like, bring some of that product thinking to support Kasim as he continues to build this amazing business. But what the community means to me is just like, I'm now, it's not like, before when I was using Bolt and Lovable, it was just like me at my kitchen table or at my desk, like alone using it, right? And there's just something so different when you're in a community of people and you're in Slack and you're going back and forth, and they can like reach out to an engineer for help, or you can just, complain about the stupid thing that the AI did that was really annoying, and, but, you're going to get through it and get to the next stage and stuff. So, I think there's probably a lot of people in tech and in business right now that are like, just kind of trying to figure out how or when to wrap their arms around AI in general. And if you have a bit of a builder flame inside of you, like this is a real great place to just jump in and try things out. And pretty much everybody that's taken it has felt like it was transformative for their perspective on business and product building, just in general. So, I highly recommend it.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Cassie. You're the best. And everybody should read Cassie's blog post that she published on, as a guest blog author for Ethan Evans' newsletter. He has the very popular Level Up newsletter on Substack, and it was a brilliant blog post, Cassie. So I'm going to give you props for that. Everybody read it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just say I also have a Substack where I've been writing about my experiences since this all started anyways. Like I started that around the same time. And that's where I'm really open and vulnerable, I think, around like, God, this is how my perspective is shifted with this whole AI thing in a more kind of macro way, culturally, tech culture, product culture, all the things. And so I'll say my perspective on all of that was really like continue to evolve and be honed by being as hands-on as I've had the opportunity to do by being a part of this community as well.
Yay. And drop your Substack in the comments so that we can all sign up. Okay, let's open up for questions. We have about 8 minutes left. And let's try to get as many questions in. And then if you don't get your specific question answered on this, sometimes Kasim is available for office hours. So when he's not traveling the world. So what
Yep,
questions do we have?
I've got one question. I'm just curious, like how much of the front end UI interactions, etc., had been thought out in advance, or did the tool really help you think through all of that?
I will let maybe, oh, Nora has left. She used the UI builder. So Nora left. So I think the way what we've seen in the past few cohorts is like people start with like a pretty good idea of what they want to build, and then halfway into building it they realize, oh, I want to change this, I want to change that, and then they work with the AI, they keep editing and modifying it. The interesting part, we introduced the UI builder in the third cohort, which was what Nora demoed. So the interesting part is like it's much easier to take care of that before you build the backend and all the functionality. So to answer your question, I think you work hand in hand with the AI. You can ask it questions. It's not just, it has an ask mode as well. So it's not just building for you. You can ask it questions and take its opinion as well. And then once you are happy, that's when you say, okay, I'm ready. Let's build the backend. And what we've seen in the past, every cohort is like people change once they see things visually. They change the not the entire idea, but like features, functionalities, workflows, etc.
So is it right to say that it's probably a good idea to come in with some strong perspective and clear idea of what you, at least certainly what some of the interactions should be and what it should look like, and then just use AI to get sort of additional perspectives and thoughts on that?
That is the idea. We have had people that have come in with like just to learn how to vibe code, but
Yeah.
then once you know how to do it, then it's like pretty addictive. So then they continue to move on to other ideas. We had someone from the first cohort called like from the first cohort that has now built, I think, 4 different products, and had
Wow.
never written a single line of code. Shayan, he built 2 during the cohort, the first one, and then he built 2 after the cohort.
I'll add in, you can do WCAG compliance. So that's absolutely something you can ask the AI agent, coding agents to do in terms of accessibility. I'm a big accessibility fan. So yay for whoever asked that. Also, as far as the product, like I'll just share with my product, you know, I'm building an app for executive and leadership coaching, and like the original PRD in it had like scheduling and billing and other stuff. And I realized that's not what I wanted. So it took me time. Like I built part towards that. And then I actually ended up redoing stuff because I was continuously also doing discovery conversations with customers and refining my product hypothesis. So like if you have a simple idea just to execute and go, like that's probably like the best situation. You know, the goal is to get live by the end of the boot camp into production with something that you can then show to customers. Like that's absolutely the goal. I mean, I think you just use your own judgment just based on like what Kasim said. Like you might start with something that you're like, oh, I'm going to make the best to-do list app ever, and then realize you have some moment of brilliance the next day of like a different and more interesting problem you want to solve. And so this is just all stuff you navigate. And I think it's important to use the boot camp to learn the muscle of how to go from idea to product that works to launching it to production. Because as long as you can have the muscles to do that, then then after the boot camp, you can continually refine or build something brand new and different or whatever, right? So it's like there's value in getting to production with something, but not because that thing is the best thing on the planet. It's because then you know how to go end to end, and then you can repeat that.
Okay, Steve has a question.
Yep. Great question. So, Steve, we have.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question though?
Oh, yes. So the question is, how much does clarity in prompts or lack thereof play into the outcomes? Will the agents recognize ideas that may not fully be thought out and respond asking more details and further clarity? That's what we introduced in cohort 3. So we introduced our own PRD builder that would ask clarifying questions if their ideas are not thought out. If they are super thought out, then it doesn't ask clarifying questions. But if it has questions, it will, ask you those questions. So yes, we introduced this in cohort 3. Another important thing adding on to what Cassie said, and then I'll take more questions, is like, think of this bootcamp not just turning your idea into a product, but also us pushing you to learn how to vibe code. And so you will be spending hours working with the AI and us pushing you to learn as much as possible. So be ready for that, because once you get that unlock where you realize, okay, now you can build pretty much anything with a little engineering support, that is amazing. This, we recommend not just giving your ideas to engineers and letting them build for you. Like for that part is like, you might as well hire a development agency to do that. So it's us pushing you to actually learn so that you can continue building your products or different products in the future. So the next question is like, someone who has a product ready and lovable, but needs help with users. And how does this bootcamp help in getting users? So the focus of the bootcamp is not getting users, but to teach people how to vibe code. Once the bootcamp is over, we do have like a founders membership where everyone comes in and just has a conversation once every 2 weeks, discuss their challenges. So you will become a part of the community, but that happens after the bootcamp. You become a part of the community, you share ideas with each other. But the bootcamp's core goal is to teach you how to turn your ideas into functional products.
You seen the last question Fred asked about deployment, CI/CD pipeline, etc.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that. Yes, Fred, 100%. So we actually help you build the entire CI/CD pipeline and deployments. So once you set it up with the engineers and you start pushing your code to GitHub, it will automatically be deployed, and you'll have engineers supporting you and telling you how all of that works, and it will be all set up by the end of it. So yes, we do that. Sorry, I missed this question.
Okay, last question. T, why don't you ask your own question, and since you're on video, and
Yes.
and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. I think this is a question that about kind of the product building philosophy of in the future. Basically, it's that my assumption was that for students that's building that build with SnapDevs because they don't know coding, they may not have the software architectural understanding to be able to like scale the software product later. Then so wanted to see how would you resolve that. At the same time, another question is that for like non-technical founders who actually want to build software product, would you recommend them to just build prototype with SnapDev and then hire a technical founder to scale the product later? Or do you think they could actually continue build the full scale product using SnapDev?
Yeah, so you are sure it's yep. So I'll answer the second one first. So for the second one, yes, the goal is to enable non-technical founders to continue building the product. That is 100% the goal. If you want to hire a technical person to continue, that is completely your choice. But for us, we push you to learn how to vibe code so that you can do it yourself if you're non-technical. In terms of Cassie, do you want something? Do you want to add something?
After you finish, I'll just add a little. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then to the first question, understanding the architecture, we teach you how to basically learn. And when I say learn, use AI, use ChatGPT, use SnapDev, ask questions, create architectures of new features. And then if you still have more questions, you have a chat button, message on that chat button, an engineer will hop on a call, guide you through the architecture as well. So you get all these different avenues to learn, but it's very important to, and we teach this during the bootcamp as well, is like do some research, talk to the AI first, understand it, and if there's still some part that you don't understand, that's when the engineer comes in. So they can come in and help you and guide you of the architecture of the product, how things are working, if there's some gaps there. And it's interesting when you kick off, you will feel like it's all gaps, and then as you start going through the bootcamp towards the end, you'll start absorbing more and more of the information that the AI is giving you, and it will always tell you what it's doing. Cassie, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I mean, just to add a little color onto that, like Gal was not a coder at all, had never touched code, had never worked in a technology firm. And I checked in on him, and he was optimizing the rich text format message loading of his Amazon S3 bucket for the chat. And I'm like, okay, Gal, like I see you, right? I mean, so this is the analogy I have for this is if you had a house and you were hiring an architect and you wanted to add a third floor, right? Like you would have to figure out, do I only want to care about what throw pillows I'm buying, or do I want to be able to have a conversation where I'm like understanding, oh, wait, but do we have the right foundation, right? Like you do end up needing to have a bit of curiosity and interest in understanding more depth around the architecture to a degree. And that depth will increase over time through practice and experience. And then you lean on the engineers that Kasim provides for rounding that out earlier on, right? But I just want to like be really clear about it. Like it's totally doable. Gal is evidence of that if you're not in tech. And but it does require some grit, requires making mistakes and then coming back and revisiting and figuring things out. It's definitely not a straight line from point A to point B. And it requires learning. So yeah, that's just to add on.
Okay, well, thank you so much,
one-
Cassie. We're gonna wrap it up. Kasim, did you want to say
Yes,
something?
last comment is like I think almost 90% of everyone that has come through these cohorts has been non-technical. When I say non-technical, they don't write code. Most of them have been part of tech companies and understand tech, but haven't written code. Gal was not even part of the tech industry. So just
My business partner came in not technical at all, and used almost no engineering hours in Bootcamp 1, became a mentor for Bootcamp 2, became a facilitator along with Cassie in Bootcamp 3, and now I really think he can build anything, which is kind of crazy. So awesome. Okay, well, I know some of you might still have follow-up questions. I think Eamon's going to send out the recording. She's going to send out a link to have you register if you're interested in joining our next bootcamp on October 17th. And then Kasim is selectively available for some one-on-one calls if you still had more questions around, okay, I have this idea. Is it doable in the bootcamp? He can help talk you through it. So awesome.
just
Thanks for spending the hour. Go ahead, Kasim.
respond to the email, and if you want to schedule the phone with me.
Awesome. Okay. Great to see everybody. We'll talk soon.